Linus, I've been using a Kestrel 5700 Elite and I've got a head-up display for it. I've had it for several years, but 3-4 years since they've launched it. They've just launched the new 5700X. Now, you use your Kestrel a lot more than I use mine. You use your Kestrel at far greater distances with a lot more calibers. So, can you tell me what the basic advantages of going up to the new X model? Is it worth upgrading from a 5700 Elite for everybody, or just for certain users, or what are the major selling points of the new X model over the Elite is my basic question.
Okay, thanks Chris, thanks very much. Yeah, as you've already covered, I've used 5700 with applied ballistics on the Elite model Kestrel meters for, well, many years. I was lucky enough to get this new 5700X, and I met the guys from the Importers RPR here in the UK at the F-Class European Championships only last month down at Bisley. So I was really keen to get hold of this and find out exactly what's different with it, how it's better, what the advantages are. So having only had limited time with it so far, the processing speed of the X upgrade is phenomenally faster. Now that's going to work for a lot of shooting disciplines. Okay, if you're at fixed target distance, it's not going to be that much of a big advantage to you. For me, I'm maybe shooting 1.6 kilometers, then 2, then back to 1,000, then 500, and it actually gives you the target much faster, and what you're going to be dialing in terms of elevation and live wind, as well as we've been doing here earlier today.
Is there any visual or ergonomic difference between the Elite and the new X? They both look pretty much the same casing, same functionality, same controls. Is it basically just down to pure speed of calculation that you think the advantage is? Because I think you said there was something about the scrolling menu was a lot faster and you could scroll through bullet choice and things like that more quickly.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Let's go back to the ruggedization of the Kestrel. It is, as you'd expect, the tactile feel of it, the haptics, everything's the same. But yeah, as you pointed out yet again, its computational speed is probably 300–400% faster. It really is that much quicker. If you're a PRS shooter, that means you're going to be able to change your dope that you're going to be dialing in, your angles, much quicker. It's going to give you live target stuff updated for wind, updated for elevation, spin drift, de-alt, and all the other things it can do. In terms of the software, literally in the past hour or so when we've been playing with it, somebody's been very clever.
Someone's been very clever. They turned the wind off today, so my weather station behind you is not moving at all. Now we're out on the range at longer distances, but yeah. I'm not sure if they can see that in the picture, but it's actually standing behind your head. Would you say there's a huge update in speed of connectivity between the Kestrel over Wi-Fi to the head-up display on your rifle? Can you notice that updating far faster?
Yeah, it's a lot quicker. We did it with RPR last month at the European F-Class Championships. There's also, in terms of Bluetooth, there's different power levels now. Previously there wasn't. You can go from 1 to 9. I think there's even a high power setting, which is going to save in the field a lot of battery time.
I think I noticed that when I was using it. I noticed it's set on 9 at the moment. When we're just setting up, we've got no battery issues today, but it makes sense to use the most especially if you want to do it on camera, doesn't it? I'm just going to move in now and have a little look at that display on the rifle. We've got the camera positioned over Linus's shoulder, which is looking at the head-up display on the front of the rifle, just in front of the rifle scope. And we're having to dummy up today, to be honest, because the wind is now dropped so little at dusk we can't do anything. But if you see on the camera the head-up display visuals, as well as the elevation setting and the Kestrel itself, Linus is going to just move the Kestrel out of shot and blow on it from different directions and hold it in different orientations to simulate how it would react live in the wind.
60 fags a day for 30 years, mate. That's what happens.
So we've actually got a little bit of problem with screen reflection today, but as you can possibly see, there is actually a film cover on this screen because it's a brand new demo unit. We can't take that off, and that's what's reflecting the light in the background. But essentially now, Linus, if you just change the orientation on the Kestrel and blow through it manually, because there's zero wind going on, you can see that's changing real time. And okay, it's not applicable to everybody, but for certain shooting scenarios and situations, being able to know what your aim offs or dial offs are in real time is incredibly useful.
Okay, one of the updates that really says to me that the developers understand the shooters with the new Kestrel software is the cartridge list, not only the ones you have on your custom gun, but the cartridge list that are built into your library with applied ballistics can be found now on the Kestrel unit itself. So if you want to try a different preloaded factory cartridge and change from Hornady to Remington, it's going to be in there with the AB ballistic curves that Brian Litz has done. It still shows 1.0 on the BC, that's his custom curve, but it tells you the grain weight of the bullet, the type of caliber, and also the velocities, and they're for, you know, factory loaded cartridges.
Well, I must admit, I do use a Kestrel. I don't use it to the extent you use yours. I love it and I've relied on it completely. I love the fact it's not reliant on any kind of smart technology, smart screens or anything, smartphones, things like that. Okay, you can use them to set it up initially, but you don't have to use them actually when you're out getting blown around and you wet through and it's raining, windy, this, that and the other. They'll take the bumps and bangs around, and that's great. But I don't use mine to the extent you use yours, so it's been quite interesting to listen to you say why the X is giving you that huge advantage, because of course when you're taking these 2-mile shots, the tiniest variation I presume gives you absolutely enormous alternate elevation and windage corrections. Is that correct?
Yeah, and there's all the normal good stuff you get built in that's retained and carried through in the 5700X AB Elite model. So you've got density altitude corrections, because the weather changes really quick where we shoot up in the mountains. You've got aero jump, you've got spin drift, all the good stuff still retained. They've just made it a lot more user friendly. So much so that I don't really want to give it back.
Because it's well worth noting, you're not shooting just in the UK, you are shooting, as you've said, at various different altitudes in completely different atmospheric conditions, because you're shooting internationally.
Yeah.
So another reason why particularly you use yours a lot more than I use mine.
Yeah, at the NRA Centre in Raton in New Mexico, you know, thousands and thousands of feet up, 110 degrees all day, and then you nip across to Europe and go to the cold ball range.
Those are old-fashioned degrees though, aren't they?
They're the only ones.
Those are Fred Dibner Fs, they're not
when you're getting hot, 110's hot.
Okay. Well, I'll forgive you that, since you're socialising with our American friends who still deal with these units. Well, Linus, thank you for telling me and for telling my viewers about the Kestrel 5700X and some of the advantages over the standard Elite. So I now need to turn around and speak to the man from Richard Paul Russell standing behind me, and perhaps ask him very, very kindly and say, well, you know, I'm a very important journalist with thousands of YouTube followers and subscribers. So please, people, like, subscribe and comment. Don't forget to click the notification bell, and just remember, if you want to keep seeing free videos, don't forget the subscription button is the key to that, because showing subscribers to people like Richard Paul Russell, who import and distribute Kestrel, is what helps them showcase things on my channel. I don't take any payment for it, it's just one of those things. We're at the range today, the guys are here because they're all shooters, and I just think it's great to be able to take advantage of these social situations to look at other people's perspectives on firearms. So thank you again to Linus from Extreme Ballistics, and thanks to the guy from Richard Paul Russell. Bye for now. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment, because your subscription, you might think it's nothing, but actually that's what attracts people like Richard Paul Russell, who distribute Kestrel, to want to come to the range with people like me and Linus. Thank you to Linus from Extreme Ballistics for bringing me here today and showing me these new rifles which he's sourcing and distributing, and also very keenly shooting himself, because he wants to learn about them. And as an extreme long range shooter, which is of course a very popular thing these days, it's nice to see that being brought to rimfires. So thank you all for watching, and see you on the next show, because don't forget, click the notification bell. There are new videos every week.